Welcome to another beautiful day in the land of music. My name is Douglas, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Viscount Legend One with the Nord Stage 4. You might be asking yourself, well, that's kind of a ridiculous comparison. We're at maybe $2,000 range for this versus $6,000 for this. That seems a little unfair. And I would say, yeah, it probably is, but I still think it'll be a fun comparison to see how did this sound on a $2,000 range keyboard match up to a 6, and what do we have for features. If you guys are looking at picking up a new stage board, you're eyeing the Viscount Legend One, trying to compare it with some of the other boards on the market. Does it make sense to spend the extra? What are you getting? What's the difference? Is there a big gap or a small gap? We'll go through all of that in this video. Let's jump right over and start to check these out. Let's go ahead and turn both of these on, and I'll let you know when each one of them is turned on. So they're both going through their process. Now the Viscount's on. Nord Stage 4 is maybe halfway through right now. So really quick load on the Viscount Legend One. I'm gonna make sure that my levels are correct in Pro Tools. So what I'm doing is stereo out of both of these into my Focusrite 8i6 audio interface and raw into Pro Tools. No effects, no post-processing. We'll go through and test out some sounds, compare them, and then talk about some of the features that are kind of similar or different between them. I'm going to focus on the kind of the features that they both include, and then some benefits to maybe both of them. And there are definitely some benefits that each one has, some pros out there. So let me get a level set here. I forget how wonderful the organ is on there. All right, I've got my volume levels set. Hopefully that's good. Let's try the piano here. And we'll try a piano here. Got a little reverb on both of these. Let's take that reverb off on both and just go straight raw piano sound. I'm gonna make sure that my equalizer is zeroed out on the Viscount. Honestly, string resonance exists on here. Let's just take I took a little bit of the bass down, -4 and about a +4 on the high. Put a little reverb in there. Do the same over here. pull a little of the mid out of there. Honestly, if you plugged an 88 key controller into this, it's, for the price, it's a decent sounding piano. A little bit toyish, but I would say the fact that there's string resonance in there gives just a little bit of that added realism that the Nord has. You just get more characteristic with the Nord. I would say, in my opinion, that still wins from the perspective of the quality of the piano. Let's check out maybe this Rhodes. We could turn off the tremolo. Now we just got reverb and that sort of stuff. Let's take our EQ back to 0. Let's go in and find a Rhodes here on the Nord. Let's go with, we don't have a Mark 1 on here, but we've got a Mark 5. Bring the reverb. Hopefully give you a little idea of some of the non-organ sounds. Let's turn our focus to the organ because that's where the Viscount Legend shines. So before I demo the organs, I've got the jazz organ pulled up, preset pulled up here, which on the Viscount Legend One, we have 2 drawbars, 2 manuals here, physical drawbars for both, as well as our pedals. So great compared to the Nord Stage 4, 1 set of drawbars, and you need to switch between your 2 layers to basically get your 2 manuals, your upper and your lower. You could also have one of those be the pedal. So the Viscount definitely wins from an organ control perspective, being able to adjust all of those things, similar to the Organ 3 from Nord, where you have the pedal adjustment there, and then you have the 2 manuals. Now, obviously the Nord Organ 3 provides 2 sets of drawbars for each upper and your lower manuals. So this kind of hits a middle ground between there. Portability gives you 2 sets of drawbars, so you can have your upper and your lower, and that's the way this is configured. So the jazz organ has a split right here, which is splitting between the lower, which is over here, and the upper. And then we've got the lower, which is down here. So we can play both the upper and the lower at the same time. We could replicate that by layering our 2 organs together here. On our layer B, that one is going to be, we'll replicate the same kind of scoop. So we've got number 1 all the way out, number 2 halfway out, number 3 all the way out. On our upper, which is going to be layer A, we're going to have all of the first 3 drawbars pulled out. We're going to do stop and then switch between the stop and fast, same as we've got here. We've got a C3 vibrato on our lower and our upper, so I'm going to turn that on. And then we're going to split these. So I'm going to come into the Nord, I'm going to do a split point here, and then we're going to say our lower is going to be down here and our upper is going to be up here. And take percussion off the lower. I'm going to drop my volume. I feel like the Viscount's a little bit louder than the Nord is here. We have about an amount of 2 on both of our reverbs here. Let's do a little bit of a slow-fast speed comparison here. So I'm just going to do a couple of notes here. Bring that fast in, and then off again. Now with stop, remember that speaker's coming to a full stop instead of going to a slow. We could turn stop mode off on both of these and just have slow fast. So this is slow to fast, back to slow on both of them. So let's start to bring some of the drawbars in. I'm going to do it on the upper on both of these, give you a taste for a full organ sound that we've got here. Let's bring a little drive. I'm going to bring my drawbars back to the same thing on both of these, which we'll do just a little bit of a scoop. About a 5 of rotary drive. there you go. A little bit of drive, a little bit of the different flavor of the drawbars. And I know I'm focusing on the B3s or the tone wheels here. There are some other models in here. So we have a lot of different models. So the Farfisa, and we go to the Farfisa over here. Let's turn off our lower. And then we also have a Vox on both of these. Turn the chorus off on both of those. A little quieter. We'd need to boost some volumes on some of those, but let's check out a couple of additional. So we have a rock rotary here. Let's grab a rock preset here. I'm going to turn my split off. So hopefully that gives you an idea sound-wise on the organs. I did more playing than I intended to do, but I want to give you a flavor for the different sounds here. It's probably worthy of additional videos going more in depth, but for the sake of time, I want to talk about some features. So obviously on the panel, both of these follow the same methodology of stay out of the screen whenever possible, which translates to a lot of buttons and knobs on both these panels. To me, that's a good thing as a live player. I want to go up, I want to twist a knob for my EQ. I don't want to go into the menu to do it. So love that both of these follow that same methodology. That being said, the screen is quite small on the Viscount compared to the Nord even, which is a very small screen. Yes, we have two of them with the synth section. The kind of the areas where the Nord Stage 4 leaps out of where the Viscount is in its layering. So we can have two organs, two pianos, three synths. Viscount, you've got your basically your three organs, but not necessarily different types of organs. You have your model of your organ, and then you have drawbar setups. Whereas I could do two completely different organ types. I could do a Farfisa and a tone wheel, and completely different settings for each. This is a bit more like the V stage where we have our organ and then we can have different drawbar setups for our harmonic bar parts. So yes, you can set up different settings for vibrato and things like that on your different manuals, but just keep that in mind from a layering capability. On top of that, we have our two sound zones here. So I have my organ, but then I could turn on a piano and our, let's say, an electric piano or a synth. So I can layer two other parts into this even on my organ. So we do have layering. We have, I would say maybe three quote 3 layers, your organ stuff, and then 2 different sounds. We could turn the organ off and we could turn both of these on, which is right now an electric piano. So if we change that to a pad, now we have a piano and a pad. Very easy to do. We just go in, category, click down, grab the preset, click down again. We can split here as well. So we can do a split point and we can put one sound on the upper and one sound on the lower. So again, it's very similar to the V stage where we've got 2 zones on the Nord. We can have up to 4 zones, 3 split points. So more capability when it comes to sound design on the Nord Stage 4. But again, it really depends on what you're looking for. From an effects perspective, we have reverb, we have our rotary speaker, EQ, but it's much simpler than it is on the Nord Stage 4. So the Nord Stage 4, we have full dedicated insert effects for most of our layers. Those can all be different reverbs on different layers. So just more powerful when it comes to the effects. And then in terms of the synth sounds on the Nord Stage 4s, we have a full analog modeling synth engine in here from the Wave 2 on the Viscount Legend One. I believe it's all sample-based within the sounds. And we do have categories for things like pads. So if I just turn off my zone 1, we have a lot of different strings and pads in here. Some choirs. A lot of different pads. And then on our drawbars, we actually have settings for things like attack, release, filter cutoff. So we can come up here and we can make sure it's set to, let's say, our sound 1 layer. And then now, so we can do some of those synth-related adjustments here, which is really cool. And I kind of like, you're using the drawbars for more than just organ drawbars. So it's all labeled down below the drawbar, and you just choose what the drawbar is affecting, whether it's the organ for true organ drawbars, or sound 1 or sound 2, and then the labels take over at the bottom. You can even assign a couple of different controls there. It's pretty cool stuff. You even have a brilliance effect there. So it's nice. I would say, depending on what you're looking for, right? Your inputs and your outputs are very similar between the two. You have a lot of pedal inputs, MIDI, you have your audio outs, your aux outs, and then you do have a pedal out as well for your organs. So when it comes down to it, organs, I believe the Viscount Legend One has an edge for a couple of different reasons. Double drawbars on here, plus your pedals, your MIDI capability for both pedal and your audio for the pedal being able to be separate. And then of course you have your aux. So you can do a lot around the organ with the Viscount Legend One. Keybed feels pretty good. I'd say it feels very similar to the Nord Stage 3 Compact and different than the Roland V-Stage 76 that I have. I would say that keybed feels a little better. I'm gonna be comparing this with the V-Stage, so I'll save some of my comments for that. Because I think these are a little bit more similar, V-Stage and Viscount, than the Nord Stage 4 and the Viscount. Now, obviously, I have the 88 key Nord Stage 4. I still find it to be pretty utility in playing organs, synth sounds, things like that, but definitely not as good as a waterfall style keybed like the Viscount has. So depending on what you're looking for, if your primary is organ, I'd give the Legend One a serious look. If you're interested in a wider set of sounds, pianos, electric pianos, strings, synth, and piano is more important than organ, I would tend to steer towards the Nord, just because the quality of the pianos to my ears are unmatched with pretty much everything that's out there currently. When it comes to some of the other sounds like strings, synth, you could call a draw on some of them, except that we have more capability with the synth engine on the Nord Stage 4. Functionality-wise, of course, the Nord Stage 4 provides more functionality around effects and capabilities for splitting, layering, keyboard hold, some of the arpeggiator stuff. It's just got way more functionality than the Viscount Legend One does. But if you're playing on stage, you're not doing a lot of fancy stuff and you just need a little bit of versatility along with your organs, I think this is a great bang for your buck. And I honestly feel like with a focus on the organs, the fact that they included 2 different sound layers that you can mix in or use on their own just increases the versatility of this keyboard. And things like the headphone jack in the front, it's just well thought out. And the quality, I would say, is on par with the Nord in terms of the buttons, the knobs, everything feels really good. Just a little different. The Nord has a little bit more of a rubbery feel, whereas we've got a little bit more kind of metal poking out, but then the rubber around it. Really good build quality, beautiful wood end caps, metal body. Same thing with the Nord. The form factor and how easy this is to bring around is a really nice advantage, I would say. Then you could always grab a 61 key controller, plug that in, map that to your upper or your lower, and then you could do a pedal board as well. You've got a full-fledged organ setup for probably considerably less than the other setups that are out there, with a sound that I think is very, very good. So there you go. Nice little comparison between the 2 keyboards. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any questions on either of these boards, feel free to throw those down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching. Stay inspired and keep making that music.